There is absolutely no question that things are a little crazy right now. And amongst all of the craziness, I know so many people who are stuck at home and really falling into the trap of becoming lazy and unmotivated. And as exciting as it did sound that we can all stay home and watch Netflix, at the end of the day, it doesn't feel good to get nothing done. So even though I do think it's important to give yourself the space to process your emotions, I also think it's really important that you do create some level of structure and routine so that you can maintain the positive momentum as much as possible in your life. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you 8 things that you can do to stay motivated and productive when you are stuck at home. So the first thing is that you need to make sure that you have a solid morning routine. Now, I know you've probably heard this 100 times, but now even more than ever, it's really easy to fall in the trap of picking up your phone and being victim to all of this crazy stuff that is going on, and that is not going to make you feel productive for the rest of the day. I found myself gravitating towards picking up my phone recently, so what I actually did was I created this iPhone background. So the first thing that I looked at was this little reminder of my non-negotiables that I must do before I start doing anything else. And honestly, your morning routine doesn't need to be this crazy over-the-top routine. Just a few simple things that you know are going to kickstart your brain and get your body moving before you get distracted by what the world is telling you is going on, or even before you submit to that slump life and don't even get out of bed at all. So for me, I just make sure that I do something to move my body, I journal to process any emotions that are coming up for me, and I get ready. I put on real clothes and I do my makeup. Honestly, I've been working at home for 3 years now, and I promise you, putting on real clothes is one of the most simplest yet most profound things that you can do to stay motivated. When your clothes are slouchy, I swear it's so much easier to just get on the couch and be all comfortable and watch Netflix. When you actually get ready, I feel like it's so much more motivating to just take action. So the next thing you want to do is make sure that you have a clean space. Because you're likely going to be spending a lot of time in your house, you want to make sure that it is clutter and distraction free. Honestly, I make sure that my office space is clean every single morning, and it makes it so much easier to work on my projects. And even if you don't have a dedicated office space, that is fine. Just make sure wherever you are doing your creative work that it is clean. And also, I truly do believe that there is something super soothing about cleaning. If you're feeling stressed out, anxious, overwhelmed, not only the actual act of cleaning can really help to distract you from those feelings, of course, the end result makes it so much easier to just have space to breathe and think and be creative. Now, another thing is you want to make sure that you have an exciting project to work on. While you've probably got more time than you usually would because a lot of social events are cancelled and a lot of people aren't actually going into the office, so you're not commuting, use the time wisely. Whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's building a business or a side hustle, and which, by the way, if you are building a business, I do have a free 3-part video series that just helps take the overwhelm out of starting an online business. I mean, everything else is so overwhelming right now. If you are going to start a business, let's take the overwhelm out of that. It's totally free and you can download it in the description and the comments below. But whether or not it's starting a business or some type of creative project, launching that YouTube channel, starting that podcast, just ensure that you have something fun and challenging to take up your time. The more that you can actually spend your day in a flow state, that state where you feel really creative and yet time just completely passes you by, the actual happier you will be. There's lots of research to show that flow states actually increase happiness, but also the closer you will be to achieving your goals. Whatever it is, take a course, learn a new skill, launch that program. Trust me, when all of this craziness is over, you will really regret it if you didn't use the time you had wisely to be productive and get yourself ahead. Another thing is you want to be ultra diligent with your calendar and planning method. I know you might be thinking, but I'm at home and I have all this free time. Doesn't that mean I need to be less organized? No, that is a complete trap. Parkinson's law states that a project will essentially expand or collapse based on how much time you allocate to that. So basically, if you give yourself 2 weeks to launch that podcast, it is going to take you 2 weeks. And yet if you say, well, I have the free time, so I'm going to launch a podcast tomorrow, you will get it done. So use the time to really use your digital calendar, schedule your days, and make sure you have scheduled out all of your work, all of your creative projects. But also make sure you are scheduling your downtime and time to work on yourself, because that is super, super important during these times of stress. And if you want to see exactly how I plan my days with my 3-part planning method, then there's going to be a video linked in the cards right now. Another thing that's always helped me stay motivated when I am at home is having what I like to call an active midday reset. So especially if you are working on work or working on creative projects, it's still easy to kind of fall into a distracted slump even when you are doing something like working. So what I like to do is I like to have an active midday reset. So, whether it's like cleaning, or for me personally, I absolutely love to have a little bit of a boogie and dance around my house. Sometimes I take my dog out for a walk. Just the act of shifting any funky energy that's come up throughout the day by moving my body helps me to reset my mind, reset my body, so that then I can use the rest of the day to be more productive. This is just one of those things that really helps me to avoid that 3 p.m. sugar craving slump that so many people feel. Even something as simple as a gentle stretch is really helpful for this. Now, nothing is more unmotivating than being distracted by the constant influx of craziness on social media and in the news right now. Honestly, if you really want to stay creative, productive, and motivated throughout your days while you are stuck at home, every time you find yourself mindlessly picking up your phone, get rid of it as quickly as you possibly can. Honestly, even if you need to play My Phone is Lava. Do you remember that thing where it was the floor is lava? Play that with your phone. Honestly, yes, it's important to stay up to date with what is going on, but you don't need to be checking your phone 100 times a day. It's going to rob you of your inspiration, your creativity, and it's going to lead you to feel really unmotivated and probably really stressed out. So make sure you just put your phone away, out of sight, out of mind. Your phone is lava. And then you can allocate some time at the end of the day to check it and keep up to date with everything that's going on after you've worked on your creative projects and got things that make you feel good done. But also, the reality is that being stuck at home can be really lonely. So you do want to make sure that you do have a positive network that is supporting you around you, that, you can sit down and express how you're feeling. Whether it is someone who is living with you and it's a partner or a family member that you can have a chat to, or whether you just call a friend up on FaceTime. I know for me, it has been so helpful to have my online masterminds. It's helped me just stay focused and keeping me on track throughout this time. Look, it's completely fine to feel emotions. Like I've said, the world is crazy at the moment, but bottling up those emotions is really, really unhealthy. And if you are living alone or you are feeling some kind of way, just make sure that you do reach out to someone who you can chat through those emotions, get it out, have a cry, do what you got to do, so then you can get back to feeling motivated and productive. The more you bottle it up, the worse you are going to feel in the long run. And finally, as important as it is to stay motivated and productive so that you don't completely fall into this quicksand of Netflix and snacks and couch life, it is also important to give yourself space. One of my coaches that I once had told me that motivation is like a bow and arrow. Sometimes you need to pull back to allow yourself to move forward with power. So just be really discerning here. Be organized, plan, use your time wisely, work on creative projects, but also don't feel guilty if you need to just chill out for a bit. It's totally okay to be human. It's totally okay to experience emotions. Don't go one way or the other. Don't fully distract yourself with work and not actually experience what you're feeling. But also don't just allow yourself to wallow in these emotions and feel like it's the end of the world. Because honestly, I really don't think it is. Nothing is the end of the world until the end of the world. And you can still use the time you have now to get stuff done so that future you really thanks you for being active and motivated and taking action. All right, I hope this video was helpful. And like I said, if you are working on using this time to build a business, I have that free 3-part video series. So definitely check that one out. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you in the next video. You know what I was typing? Bop doop dop ya doo up. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm here.
It feels so good, but it's Mommy! Stop.